interesting film. Elizabeth and Captain Jasper are
Yeah.
pretty different. When you first got the script, what attracted you both to your roles?
Um, I mean, the script is so well written. I feel like I hadn't ever read a script like this, particularly with the sort of held breath twist moment, the incorporation of, social justice and racial inequality and, horror, psychological thriller. I mean, there was so many elements, but there was also kind of a lot of teachable moments. Like it felt like this is something that they could use in schools or colleges, or, I feel like they did. I don't know. I just feel like Gerard and Chris did such an incredible job, and I think they are such geniuses. I look forward to what else they're going to be giving the universe, that I just kind of jumped at the possibility of working with them.
So for you both, this is an intense film with a lot of issues that you just sort of highlighted. How do you decompress from a role like this and filming something like this?
It's interesting. We all created, and through the guidance of Chris and Gerard and Janelle, we created such a beautiful, safe work atmosphere that was, of course, intense at times, and obviously very loaded, because what we were discussing and what we were tackling is something that has needed to be confronted for so long. I mean, hundreds of years of history have sadly not changed that much. And I think in today's world, we realize even when we read this script 2 years ago, it still felt very important, let alone where we're at today. This is something that expresses an ideal that shouldn't even be an ideal. It should just be the way it is. It should be it's the right way. It's not the wrong way. And this is the magnifying glass. This movie, will hopefully shock, horrify, and help people to understand that systemic racism, inequality, it exists all around us. Unless we stand up and say something about it, then nothing's going to change.
So obviously at this time, there are several issues that are highlighted with us as a culture and a society. So for you, going through this experience, both of you, in filming this, and now with what the world at large is dealing with, what type of conversations are you having amongst your friends? And did working on a project as such change any of your outlook or change the conversations that you have with friends?
Yeah, I mean, all of our conversations should be changing right now. That's the gift of being alive during the greatest social, justice revolution of our generation. Particularly with our white friends. It really is a completely different kind of conversation. And when I read this script 2 years ago, I was ignorant enough to have a belief system still intact that the sort of white supremacic delusion existed in small sects of America, that it was these isolated pockets and hate groups. And I think, and I'm really grateful for the re-education, or rather just the needle in the bubble that needed to burst, that really the sort of delusion is systemic, right? And it's built into the system, and it's something that it affects every single human body in it. So I feel like the conversations that I'm having today are different actually than 2 years ago when we made this film. It feels like much more of a personal conversation, and one that, obviously we're in the middle of, 2 different pandemics, one of police brutality and one of this sort of, COVID virus. So I'm not actually having that many conversations with human beings. It's nice to have these conversations right now. Mostly I'm having them with my white mom friends. We're talking about how to talk to our children.
Kids, that's the important part. It's the next generation. Hopefully, this is the start of a movement that's been moving for a long time, but it's never had such force and a louder voice. And, as much as we can all lend to sort of push this along the way. And our kids, you know, it starts with our kids. You know, it's what you're taught. You're taught to hate.
Yeah.